Hi, good afternoon. How are you doing today? The Mandela Washington Fellowship 2024 application is out. And my name is Yetunde Adesheluka Ladejo. I am going to briefly just be taking you through tips, some of the tips that you need to be able to write a successful and a winning and a very strong Mandela Washington fellowship application. Because really, I would really love to be able to part of those that would celebrate you when you get selected for the fellowship for the 2024 cohort. So Mandela Washington Fellowship is an amazing fellowship, and it's a fellowship that is very competitive. I'm sure you must know that by now. I am a 2022 fellow, and I had my fellowship experience at the Rutgers University, the State University of New Jersey, United States of America. It was an amazing journey from writing my story to getting interviewed and to eventually being picked and selected for the 2022 Mandela Washington Fellowship. I can tell you it was an amazing experience for me, meeting young leaders from different African countries who are doing amazingly well in their respective spaces of influence in various African countries has been amazing for me. So let's get down into the details. First, I'm going to give you just a very brief background of how I was able to get into the Mandela Washington Fellowship. First, I'm going to say that I applied for Mandela Washington Fellowship 4 good times. You heard that right? 4 amazing times I applied for the fellowship. But what I realized was that it wasn't like I wasn't good enough for the fellowship, but I realized that there is a process that I need to take for me to be able to write down exactly what they need to be able to be selected for this prestigious fellowship. And I can tell you, during the period of my rejections, I had to go back to the drawing board and look at what I wasn't doing right in my previous applications. Having looked at everything I was doing, I was able to pinpoint some of the issues that I had that made my applications not to be, a very strong one for the fellowship among all of the people selected from all over African countries. And let me tell you something. Out of thousands and thousands of applications, 35,000, 40,000, 50,000 applications, only 700 will be chosen and selected for the Mandela Washington Fellowship. Very strong application your that be able to resonate with your passion, be able to resonate with what you're doing, and be able to say, yes, this fellow, this person, this applicant should be on the 2024 Mandela Washington Fellowship on your way to the United States of America. Great. I would also like to also say that at my third attempt, I got into the interview stage and I got knocked out at the interview stage. You would be wondering why I got into the interview stage and was still knocked out at the interview stage. Now, let's move on into the tips. Tip one that I'll be sharing with you today is for you to first overcome your fear. We have the tendency as humans to be able to think we are not enough. Oh, I think people that they select for the Mandela Washington Fellowship are people that are doing amazing, big stuff. That is right, though, but doesn't mean that you are not enough. Love yourself, love your work, love what you are about to write down for your application. That is key. Be confident in yourself. Believe that this application you're going to write down, you're going to put in your whole and write a strong and compelling essay such that when your reviewer sees it, your reviewer is happy to recommend you to be selected for the 2024 Mandela Washington Fellowship. Number two tip that I will be sharing with you this afternoon is for you to read and digest the selection criteria and information on the site fully and completely being underlined. I have seen people that would go to the site to read information but would not take some minutes to read and digest the selection criteria. The selection criteria is very key. Those are the very first tips you need on your way and on your step to writing a compelling, a winning, and a successful Mandela Washington Fellowship application. Moving on to tip three that I'll be sharing with you this afternoon. Do not procrastinate. We humans, a large percentage of us, have the tendency to procrastinate. The fellowship will be closing September 12th or so, thereabout. And today is August 18th. And I think by now, if you want to apply for this application, you should kickstart now and you should start putting together your data. You should start putting together your heart. You should start putting together your essays. You should start putting together all of your documentation to put forward a compelling and a very strong Mandela Washington Fellowship application. Having said this, let's get down to when you start writing your story. Now, before we move on to tip four, there's one important tip I would want to share with us, and that is I had mentioned at the start of my speech, or at the start of my presentation, that I had applied 4 good times. Having applied 4 good times for a four-time applicant, you should know what I was passing through. At the last application that I submitted, that eventually got me to the 2022 Mandela Washington Fellowship. I had told myself this would be my last application because I was really tired of all of the rejection mails that I get every year. But I realized then that I should go back to the drawing board and sit tight. And what I realized from my previous applications and the one that I wrote that got me into the fellowship was the use of statistics, was the use of coherence in my application. Data is a new oil. Data is golden. In the social impact sector, you need data to be able to communicate effectively to your listeners. Without data, it's like you're just saying stuffs in thin air that nobody would be able to point out and say this is exactly what you are doing and how you're going about it. Data is golden. Data is the new oil, and you must know that in writing a strong and a winning Mandela Washington Fellowship, you need statistics and you need data. And also, what I lacked then was the fact that I do not have data to support my storyline. This was lacking. And I do not want you to make the same mistake when you're putting down your application for this cohort of the Mandela Washington Fellowship application. Having said this, during the time when I was my process period, my waiting period to get into this prestigious fellowship, I also realized I had not done a lot of community impact work that could make my reviewers say, yes, this person should be a fellow. This person should be taken and selected for the Mandela Washington Fellowship. So during that period of my waiting, I went back. I did lots of community work passionately without being driven to do it. I am passionate about women's health. I'm passionate about girls' health. I'm passionate about advocacy. And I have been doing that for the past 4 years. And I was documenting all of the processes, documenting my knowledge product, and ensuring that I have all of those lined down in a particular document that can be used for future use. And I would also want you to take that as a tip when you're putting down your Mandela Washington Fellowship application. Tip four: are you currently doing amazingly well in your community? Ask yourself this question: what community driven project are you doing? What impact are you making in your immediate community? Are you doing anything at all? Is it in the health sector, education, climate change, or immigration, or reproductive health? What exactly are you doing that you want to pen down for your reviewer to read? What impact are you making in your community? And do you have data to back this up? Are you penning down your data? This is very important when penning down the Mandela Washington Fellowship application, and you should take note of this. Let's move quickly to tip 5. Tell your story. Tell your story. And when you're telling this story, tell your story passionately. Let your passion reflect in your story. And as you're telling your story passionately, tell it coherently. Don't tell your story in silo. I would advise that you could build your story around one particular project where you have made significant impact. Build your story around this. Why trying to, you know, rally around your other project that you're doing? Probably you learned some leadership skills. Probably upskilled in your communication skills. You made them more effective, more efficient. Probably you learned some skills in all other projects that you're doing. Gather all of these skills together and make them into one strong force for one project that you're going to speak your story around. Make sure you tell your story, and make sure you tell your story passionately and coherently in such a way that your reviewer can resonate with you. It's very important that when your reader is reading your application, the reader is able to see in explicit terms what you have done, how you have done it, what are the next steps for you? Why do you want to get into the fellowship? Why do you think the fellowship will help you expand your work? Do you think the fellowship will help you expand your network? Those are those things that you're going to put in your application. This is very key. Let's move on to tip 6. Grammar, it's very important. Grammar, it's very important. You need to be able to, grammar, it's very important. You need to be able to, be coherent. You need to be able to write correct, English structures. Simple English structures, but correct ones. Correct ones. Correct English structure. You be able to write them and make sure that your grammar is correct when you are penning down your story. You can use some spelling checks apps like Grammarly, spell checks, all of those ones. You can check them out on the internet to know the one that is applicable to you and the one you will be able to use best. Let's move on quickly to tip 6. After you have developed your essay, you've written your essays, used your data, you are coherent, you have linked all of the leadership skills you've gotten from different places of where you have worked, your community impact project, then it's very important that you read and read again. Read and read again. Read and read again. At the point when you are reading and reading again, you'll be able to, it would, help you more to be able to see probably where you made some mistakes, where you think you could have structured the words more better, what you think you had missed out at the previous time when you started writing your story, your essays, read and read again. And it's very important to adhere to the word limits on the application. I think it's always 150 words per essay. During my time, it was about 150, I think 151, 250 words. Make sure you adhere to whatever word limits they had requested for you to put down in your application. Maximize every word in your application. Maximize every word. Do not write what you are not asked. Answer the questions simple, explicitly, using data and statistics. Do not write what you are not asked. Do not write what you are not asked. Let's move on quickly to tip 7. After you are sure you've cross-checked your information is correct, everything asked of you is well written down, get somebody to review your work for you before you submit finally. Get somebody to help you reread, somebody to help you check out with the person if the person has time to check out your work with you, and the person could help you pen out some of the mistakes you think were good to go, but probably were not really good to go at the review by somebody else before you submit your application. Very importantly, do not plagiarize. Do not copy somebody else's work into your own. They will know. They will know. Still on number 7 tip for you, ensure you are true. Ensure you write the truth and nothing but the truth. Write the truth and nothing but the truth. Tip 8. Prayer. I think it's written in the Bible, the whole work and no prayer. We need to work. As a working, we also need to pray. Pray, pray, pray. Commit your application into the hands of the Lord. We believe in prayer. God is the ultimate that can do all things. So, tip 8, pray. All right, let's move on to tip 9. After you've checked statistics, okay, grammar check, data check, storyline coherent, you gave it to a reviewer to review for you before the final submission. Everything check, 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 check. Do not procrastinate. Tap the submit button. Please be nice to yourself. Tap the submit button and then submit. Tip 10. Very, very important. When you are submitting, please smile. A good smile will make you feel confident that you have written the best and you believe that you would make it into the 2024 Mandela Washington Fellowship cohort and believe you will be selected. Tip 11. Stop packing your bags. Pack your bags. Okay, I'm just joking. Do not pack your bags first. After you submit and then the selection is made, you will still go through the interview stage. After the interview stage and you are selected as 2024 Mandela Washington Fellow, I will be waiting to hear your testimonies. I will be really glad if you could reach out to me and tell me you were selected for the 2024 Mandela Washington Fellowship. I would really be happy for you because let me tell you something, it's an amazing experience. It's a great experience and you would love it and you would be glad you are able to, meet a variety of young African leaders from more than 30 countries. And I can tell you, if you could be selected for the 2024 Mandela Washington Fellowship, one of the 700, wow, that's a star. You are a star. And I wish you all the best. Once again, my name is Yetunde Adesheluka Oladejo. I am a 2022 Mandela Washington Fellow, a 2023 International Maternal Newborn Earth Fellow, and I am a Nigerian, and I run a voluntary initiative whereby I advocate for the rights of women and girls in Nigeria and other African countries. And I will be really, really glad if you made it into the 2024 Mandela Washington Fellowship. And do not forget, data is golden. Data is the new oil. Infuse this into your application. I wish you all the best. Bye.